Hello and welcome, potentially welcome back. My name is Tiffany Hill Cook. I run a spiritual practice called the Healing Hill. And today's episode, it's episode 3, by the way. I wanted to share with you why do we say grace before a meal? Where does it come from? Why does one do that? I'm going to speak from an I also have already connected with my spirit guides, so they're going to be leading this conversation today. If what I share with you today resonates on a soul level and you would like one-on-one time with me, I will put my website in the description box below. It's thehealinghill.com. I offer a variety of services. The cool thing is that you get an opportunity to have some time with your spirit guides, and we also call forth your higher self. Get some clarity, ask some burning questions, and ultimately they share a message of love with you, because this is what I know: you are loved and love simply because it is true. I'll see you soon. All right, so episode 3, we are talking about the art of saying grace, the practice of saying grace. This is what I do know, is that everything is energy. Everything is energy. And although we live in a 3-dimensional space, a physical space where there are dense objects, ultimately that is energy. And the things that we consume are energy. The water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, it is all energy. I did not grow up in a household where we said grace before we ate. I can remember Thanksgiving, potentially Easter. Someone would lead us all in a prayer, and honestly, half the time I was kind of snickering under my breath, thinking, like, how silly are these people? It wasn't until I started to develop a relationship with God, and when I say I started to, He just showed up in my life like a Mack truck, and it was unavoidable. The experiences that I was having were unavoidable, and it was the soul of God. So, why I say grace before I eat is to put my body, my mind, into a state of grace. If everything is energy, then think about, and I've done this hundreds, if not thousands of times in my life, eaten food, for starters, from somewhere that was fast food. Before I actually get into this, I want to make sure that when you hear me speaking, this is not one of judgment. This is not, if fast food is a part of your normal operating rhythm, then so be it. You have free will. You get to decide what you put in your body and what you don't. Well, I mean, unless you're a child, you don't really have too much freedom when you are a child. You get told what to do and where to be and how to be. But let's say so for me, I would get something fast food on the go and I would just scarf it down so quickly. Well, think about the chain of steps that food, the journey that food took to get to you. Food that takes more time to be curated, more time to be made, ultimately has more energy in it, right? Because time is energy. Time is a form of energy. So the food that you are hastily putting into your body, let's say you eat angrily, let's say you eat anxiously or sadly, that food, which is going to stay in your body, I mean, depending on how healthy your digestive and elimination system are, at least a couple of days. And depending on, again, like I said, how healthy your body is, it could be significantly longer. So let's say you make it a habit of eating food, like the image that I just got. I am clairvoyant, so my spirit team gives me images a lot, is somebody eating over the sink really quickly. I mean, that energy of hurriedness, hastiness, is now part of your aura and your energy until you invite something else in. That is why, I can hear my dog snoring. That is why when you prepare food at home, it's almost like a form of meditation. And every ounce, every cut that you make, every, stir that you do is infusing more and more energy that is ultimately going to be a part of you. Not only a part of you, it's going to be the gasoline that you need in order to navigate life. So if you're eating food that didn't have a lot of time put into it, it doesn't have a lot of energy in it. So how do you think that that's going to show up in your body? You're probably going to be tired. You're probably going to be grabbing for more food because you feel empty. There's not enough energy to sustain you. And so I spent years being vegan. I am no longer vegan. I actually eat quite a bit of meat on a daily basis. And for the first time in my life that I can remember, I feel nourished. I feel satiated. And some of you, again, it doesn't really matter what your belief system is because I get to decide who and what I am. So I'm going to share with you how eating meat shows up for me. For starters, when I go into a state of grace and I'm saying grace before I eat, someone may say, I want to start doing that, but I don't even know what to say. What do I even, that's not even something I've done. Just get really quiet, drop into your heart space. You should be living out of your heart space anyway, as often as you can, and just be quiet and see what comes up. You may have gratitude for something. You may need to ask for some help for something. For me, I have it's not uncommon for me to ask. I actually when I say grace, I do say it to God or Lord. And I'll say, please remove all low vibrational energies. Remove any fear. Remove any concern or worry that this food is holding on to. Fruit and vegetables can do the same thing. And then I ask for the highest, brightest, and lightest energy to be infused into that food. If it's meat that I'm eating, I thank that soul for coming with me on my journey. Because now that food is going to be a part of me. That animal didn't die. That animal is just in a different dimension. It's in a different form. I mean, that we know that energy, nothing is is ever created nor destroyed. That's science. That's not like this spiritual woo-woo stuff. That is science. So I thank that soul for coming along with me on this journey and allowing me to complete this quest of life. That I don't know what the blueprint is, but I can tell you, I just allow myself, I surrender to life, and I allow myself to be guided at all times. And when I say guided, we all have an inner intuition. When I get up in the morning, I think to myself, instead of being on autopilot and every day this is what I eat for breakfast, I go, what does my body want today? Because at the end of the day, your body is your soul's best friend. If your body is not healthy, that your soul cannot have a quality experience. And I will say this, there are definitely individuals who part of their life plan is to have health issues, so that their soul can be more rounded out, so they can have more apathy, empathy, and compassion for those who are experiencing, let's say, hurdles associated to their health. This is what I also know. A lot of the health issues that manifest for most of us have nothing to do with any actual physical ailment. It is the impact that the disconnect between the mind, body, and soul has on the body. I just started reading this great book. I cannot remember the author, but it is called You Are the Mountain. And the message of the book is the only thing in life holding you back is yourself. And in the first chapter, Carl Jung, who I don't even know what he would be, a psychoanalyst. I don't know what he, in the 60s, and he did a lot of work associated to dreams. But there was one day that before he had gone to school, he ended up vomiting or throwing up. And so as a result, he did not go to school that day. Immediately, his subconscious made a new rule that he was gonna to throw up daily so that he didn't have to go to school. He didn't know why he was throwing up. He just would. And so that is how powerful the connection between the mind, body, and soul is. So for me, the reason that we say grace is to get our body into a state of grace. And I know that I already said this earlier, but this is how Spirit is wanting me to reiterate it, is whatever you are doing when you're eating. Let's say I just got an image of somebody being a parent and having children. I have fur babies. I do not have any human babies. So why I share that is I don't truly know your experience. But even a mother to a mother, you don't know one another's true experience because we're all having such an individual and unique one. But the image that I just got was a mother screaming fast, eating their food. And as they're eating, they're yelling, I'm going to make these names up. Jacob, get down off of the counter. And Mariah, what are you doing? I mean, think about the energy that you are creating when you're doing that. And now you're eating, so you're digesting all of this frustration and anxiety. With everything being energy, it's like you could have somebody walk into a room and just go scream and be angry. Even though they leave the room, the anger still lingers in that room because everything is energy. And so, all right, I am curious. I've been talking for about 12 minutes about food and saying grace. So I am curious, do you say grace? And if you'll notice in this entire video, I didn't bring up religion once. Saying grace has nothing to do with religion whatsoever. That was another narrative, a judgment, and a story that I had for a long time. If you don't believe in God, that's okay. The universe has your back. You don't have to say grace to God. You can just say grace before you eat. An example would be, thank you for this food that I'm about to receive. Thank you to everybody who made it possible for me to have this meal in front of me. Thank you for the abundance, the financial ability to purchase this meal. For my physical body, the ability to chew my food. Not everybody has the ability to do that. I think my stomach and my elimination and digestive system for absorbing these nutrients to allow me to, be the best and brightest and strongest version of myself. You may want to ask, this is something that I do depending on what I am looking to infuse into my heart. You may, like, something that I'm working on right now is honoring myself freely and openly. So you may want to say, and this food is going to reinforce the behavior of me honoring myself fully and openly at all times. I like to say amen at the end of when I say grace, and amen translates to simply, so be it. It is done. It is history. It's once you've said it, it's done. And so I'm curious, do you say grace? Are you opposed to saying grace before a meal? What would make you not want to say grace? If I just got a thought that potentially I don't have time. Time is such an elastic thing. And I will tell you a story about time being elastic. There used to be this story when I worked at this cult. And it went something like, so that the organization was all about mentorship. Well, now looking back, this mentorship was disguised as control. Okay. So you had all these mentors who were basically watching you and making sure that you were a lemming. And so the story goes as such. If somebody were to come up and ask you at the beginning of the week, do you have 10 hours this week to mentor me? Most people would say, I don't have 10 hours to do anything extra. My week is packed. My life is full. I don't have 10 hours for you. But what happens when on the way home from work your car breaks down? And ultimately you've got to get a new car. So you have now spent 25 hours in that week going to a mechanic, calling the bank, going down and test driving a bunch of cars, and ultimately purchasing a vehicle. So at the beginning of the week, you said you didn't even have 10 hours, yet you ended up finding a whole day in your week to purchase a car. We make time and space for things that are important. Saying grace is prioritizing yourself. It is putting your energetic body's needs in front of the perceived story that you don't have enough time to do this thing. And I also know that you may not know what to say. Remember, it's a practice. The first time, I can guarantee that there is something in your life that you have spent years learning how to do. It may be art. It could be learning a language. It could be a sport. You could be a hairdresser. You could make hats. Who knows? I can nearly guarantee that the first time you ever did it, you were terrible at it. But it was fun. And you kept practicing and practicing and practicing and ultimately got better. That's the same thing with anything that you do. So I implore you to slow down before you eat. Well, even before then, I implore you to take time with the food that you're putting into your body. I'm not going to tell you what to eat or what not to eat. That's on you. That is, you are smart. You know what you need and what you don't need. I'm just curious what it would look like if you slowed down a little before you ate and said thank you and put your body into a state of grace. Even more so, what if you actually took the time to prepare the food that you were going to be eating? I wonder how that would feel when you were eating that food. I bet you it would feel really, really good. All right, Spirit, is there any other messages? You can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. I can promise you that. There is nothing special about me outside of the fact that I care. I care about my body, and I love myself. Thank you again for stopping in and sharing your energy and time with me. I did just get done eating, so I don't know if you can see my eyes are a little bit glossed over. So I've got a full belly, and that is what had inspired me to hop onto my computer and share a message with you. Well, sending peace, love, happiness, and prosperity to you, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what time of the day when you are watching this. Signing off for now.